Hello and welcome to Graphic Vandalism 731. I'm Johnny Alpha and I'm doing another video for my Why You Should Be Reading Image Comics video series. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite comic books that's in print right now. That is, of course, Deadly Class by Rick Remender with art by Wes Craig. This book is just so phenomenal. This series has been running for quite a while now, and I've really wanted to do a video for it for some time. I wasn't sure how, and now that I'm doing this series of videos, I'm really happy to finally tackle it. There are two trade paperbacks for this series out already. The first one is called Reagan's Youth. The second one is called Children of the Black Hole, and there's a third one that's about to come out called Snake Pit. I've been a pretty big fan of Rick Remender's for quite some time, ever since I read his amazing sci-fi noir epic, Last Days of American Crime. I've really had a lot of fun with most of the stuff he's written. Some of his Marvel stuff I didn't care too much for, but hey, that's just Rick getting paid, right? Wes Craig's art in this is just, like I said, perfect. It really helps capture the whole hardcore angst thing that Remender was writing here, but really brings it visually to life, and his crazy cartoonish style really helps sell this black comedy punk rock epic that they have come up with together. I mean, it really is just kind of a savage, almost brutal, fear and loathing mix of everything you could think of that's just teenage pain, angst, hatred, all brought together to just make this crazy adventure. This book takes place in the late 80s Reagan-era San Francisco and really captures just the angst and the anger that was very prevalent in the hardcore scene of the time. I mean, it really tackles the same kind of feelings that the songs that the books are named after had, and really, you know, if you like Black Flag, Bad Religion, Bad Brains, this book will really speak to you because it really has those kind of feelings and message to it. This book also follows the exploits of a group of students that go to a school called the King's Domain School of Deadly Arts, which is basically a school you go to become one of the world's top assassins. The King's Domain is kind of a really cool little campus. It's actually located in this old part of the city. It's like really underground. It's been buried by earthquakes and fires and all the other kind of catastrophes that San Francisco has suffered over the years. And there really are places like this underneath San Francisco where there's just full buildings and stuff. So like there's this whole campus where these kids are just learning how to become these expert assassins and murderers. It's really kind of a cool setup they got going on here. The main character of this story is a kid named Marcus, who is this Nicaraguan immigrant whose dad was a prominent politician in Nicaragua, but got chased out by the Sandinistas because he was helping Ronald Reagan and the CIA during the Contras. So basically they were forced to have to leave Nicaragua, and they came to live in America. And while Marcus was a child, they came to live in San Francisco, and at this time Ronald Reagan had closed all the mental health facilities because of tax reasons, and all the mental hospitals closed and forced all the mental patients to go and live on the streets. Tragically, Marcus's parents were killed by one of these mental patients jumping off of the Golden Gate Bridge. Falling to her death, she crushed Marcus's parents to death. It's almost kind of funny if it wasn't so sad, but that's basically the catalyst for Marcus's total rage and hate. I mean, he completely despises Ronald Reagan. I mean, he hates this man with every fiber of his being, and this hate is going to be key for most of the choices Marcus makes for his future and his life moving forward. Marcus is now a teenager, and he's living on the streets, and he's wanted by the police for burning down a home that he was staying at that was kind of really shady. He was being abused there. His roommate was this really kind of redneck pervy guy that had this weird obsession with dogs, and yeah, basically the cops are after him for that, and they're just about to bust him when out of nowhere he kind of gets rescued by all these kind of weird kids that he's never seen before, but they're all his same age, and they kind of help him escape these police, and they take him to meet Master Lin, who is the head of the King's Domain school, and basically that is how Marcus gets his into this assassin school. And yeah, one of the kids has to sponsor him, and none of them really want to do it because, you know, Marcus is he's very sheltered, and basically this crazy Yakuza princess named Seiya sponsors him so he can join the school, and that's kind of the beginning of all of the things that are about to happen for Marcus in his life and this series in general. The way the school's set up, it's so much fun. I mean, you basically got all the same kind of cliques and groups that you would have in a normal school. It's just how hyper exaggerated they all are. They're almost kind of like the gangs from the Warriors, but like they're like the normal kind of gangs. You got the Cholos, you got the OGs, you got the Asian gang, you got the white trash. I mean, and it's just really kind of cool and fun the way that they kind of made these things a little more aggro and more dangerous than they would normally be at this assassin school. And then the classes, they're just so much fun. There's like poisoning 101 and like black arts 101, and it's just really kind of cool. And like they gotta have to do murderous homework assignments where they gotta go out and find somebody that truly deserves to be murdered and like do it, and then if they don't, then they get killed. I mean, it's kind of almost silly at some points, but then when you actually they do the homework assignment and you see the murder, it's just really brutal. It's really hard hitting, and like especially that issue, you're just like at the end of it, you're just like, damn. And just like through most of his life, Marcus really has to kind of struggle to fit in, and he does. He finds himself a nice little place with the punks and the misfits. But even they kind of make fun of him when they find out his life goal is to assassinate Ronald Reagan. They kind of laugh at him and call him an idiot and stuff. And funny enough, he becomes, and it's really odd, he becomes best friends with Willie, who is like is the son of this South Central OG, and he kind of runs the OG gang there called the Final World Order, and he gets like lost in this kind of love triangle between Maria, who is like this crazy cholo chick that paints herself all Day of the Dead and kills people with fans, and like he's in love with Seiya, the Yakuza princess that sponsored him, and nothing ever really goes ever right for Marcus in his poor life, and he ends up going on all these kind of crazy adventures with his little group of friends. Like they go on this crazy like Hunter S. Thompson style LSD trip to Las Vegas where they get acid from like a Grateful Dead concert parking lot, and they hit up Vegas, and nothing good happens, but it's really kind of a fun adventure anyways. And basically like Marcus has to skate this razor's edge where basically everything that he does puts him in a worse situation. It's always out of the frying pan into a fire, into a bigger fire, and into an even bigger fire with Marcus and his poor group of friends as he has to fight this ghost from his past, his old roommate from the boys' school that had to think about the dogs. He's got this crazy Charlie Manson kill cult, and he's trying to make a name for himself as a serial killer, and like Marcus and his friends got to fight them, and then after that they get stuck in an even bigger struggle, and that's where Snake Pit leaves us off, and it's just exciting. It's just insane, and you just kind of feel sad, but you're just enjoying the ride, and like you're just along for the ride with these poor, dumb, drug-addled, sex-addicted kids. Everything's just so in the air all the time, and everything's just so uncertain. You never know if Marcus will actually become this great assassin that Master Lin believes he will become. You don't know if Marcus will ever actually get to assassinate Ronald Reagan. Hell, you don't even know if any of these crazy-ass kids will actually ever live to actually see the 90s. I mean, it's really uncertain. It's really crazy, this whole hardcore punk rock life, assassin life that they're going for with this. Rick Remender really writes these kids and these punks like he's an old school veteran or actually an insider to the scene, and he really writes all these different types of punks and all the tribes and all the styles with total respect. Like he's like, I think that he must have actually really been a punk, and like I've said before, Wes Craig's art in this is really just so perfect for this tone. His cartoonish style really helps set this dark comedy punk rock epic that they went for with this, and it just sings this kind of teen angst punk rock swan song perfectly. I really hope I inspired some of you to check out this book. It's really worth reading. It's very good. I mean, even if you're not a fan of punk rock, there's the style and the actual tone and the history that's actually in this book. It's really worth checking it out for, and it's just kind of a good, fun, murderous tale if you're into such things. So I really say go ahead and check it out. It's one of my favorite books in print right now. This is Johnny Alpha from Graphic Vandalism 731 saying goodbye and have fun, everyone.